do now is we have had a pretty intense day so far. I'm sure you'll agree. There's been a lot of really important information being said and shared that's hitting an awful lot of nerves and also getting us thinking in quite deep and profound ways. And what we have to balance that with, and that's why I'm so delighted in the way that we've rolled through today, is we've also got to balance that with the ability to be able to start first and foremost with ourselves. What's going on for us, how we're sending out information, what vibration we're sending out into the world around us. And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the fourth speaker of the conference so far. I'm sure many of you already know of Brian, if you haven't met him already. He is, I'd say, an enlightened combination of a horseman and life coach, and he works with a very special mare. You're going to see quite a lot of her over the next hour or so, called Brenda Lee, and his other four-legged family and the team, helping people to really connect into who they really are. You know, realizing who they are, finding that place of stillness, and learning to stay balanced in that place with the help of the animal teachers. And I'm sure if you haven't come across footage of beautiful Brenda Lee and the other canine family, you're going to absolutely adore watching this. There's also massive, massive learnings for all of us in this, regardless of where we are in our own evolution. So I'd like you to put your hands together for a very warm welcome, all the way from America, for the first time to the UK, Brian Reid.
Good afternoon. Julie contacted me through Facebook, through the internet, through email, and said, would you come and speak to the Awakenings to the Animal conference? So we had a little chit-chat on a Skype session, and she told me what it was all about. And I said, oh, I can do that. Yeah, I can fit that in, make it about the animals and what animals have to teach us. And she said, I'd like you to speak. I said, sure. She said, I'd like you to keep it to an hour. Okay, how am I going to do that? Well, I can tell you today I'm going to go over. It's going to be an hour and 5 minutes. We got a 5-minute introduction. And then, with the help of Jamie, my excellent assistant behind the mic, behind the camera, Jamie said, why don't we just put a video together for an hour? Because if I give you a PowerPoint presentation, you're going to get stuck for 20 minutes on one thing. You won't get all the way through it. You'll go off on a tangent. I said, sure, do that. So she put together a phenomenal video presentation, which I'll be speaking as it's going on. The problem is, or not the problem, the opportunity is, I was a little bit busy coming up to the Awakenings to Animals, and Jamie finished it about a week ago. I said, great, I'll watch it the day before I leave. I'll watch it on the plane. I'll watch it on the train. I'll watch it in my hotel room. That's 4 hours. I would get the gist of it. And then I can sync everything with and get my notes together and really give an excellent presentation. Well, the day before we came here, does anybody think I watched that video? On the plane, after not sleeping for 24 hours, then I watched the video. Well, kind of hard to do this and take the laptop and open it like this. So that wasn't going to happen. And then I got to England for the first time, and I said, I'll watch it on the train. Train, hotel room, got it. We took the laptop out on the train, and the train heads off, and I asked Jamie, I said, Jamie, what's all the green grass? What's all the green grass about? Every grass. She said, it's about the sheep. I said, I don't see any sheep. From Manchester to here, sheep. I missed that thing, that England, sheep, green grass, but it was beautiful. So I rather than facing backwards on the train, watching the sheep go by, I got to the other side of the train, and it was beautiful to ride up here. Just stone walls, green grass, sheep, little lambs sitting atop a sheep. So I didn't watch the video. So I get here. I'll watch the video when I get to the hotel room. Anybody here not have internet access in the hotel room? That isn't going to happen. And now, I teach people, live in the moment. So what should I be doing when all this is happening? Breathe. That's right, breathe. Excellent. So, okay, so we get a little plug-in. Jamie had that one of those little key things you stick in the side, and I start to watch it, and it quits at 1 minute and 59 seconds. I'll watch it tomorrow morning. Okay. I can tell you right now, I didn't eat lunch here. I watched the video for the first time ever, right? And while I'm watching the video, I'm going, okay, how am I going to do this, God? Right? How am I going to pull this off? And I thought, let me think. Awakenings to animal. And I know Julie said she's an animal communicator. And as I was reading the bios, there's another animal communicator and another animal communicator. And quite frankly, I don't really know what animal communicators do. And all of a sudden I'm watching the video, and the pictures on the video say, why don't you do some animal communication? We'll take it from here. And so I said, yes. So I'm going to try to let the pictures on the screen speak. And I want to look at the screen just like you do for the first time and see what comes to me from my pictures. Okay? Not just yet. Because I'm promising you whatever comes through me is coming out. So here's my only opinion. I get to read this sheet, and then after that I'm turning it over to the animals. Awakenings to the animals, to animals. Awaken to what? And I thought, how about awakening to why? Why awaken? I got up this morning, going to sleep feels pretty good. When I woke up this morning, I wanted to stay in bed a little longer. But did I want to stay asleep all day? For the next week? For the next month? Why? So why would I want to awaken? That's what I would like everybody here to think. Why? Why would I want to awaken? Here's the other problem I wrote. I said, okay, awakenings to animals. And I'm reading the bios of them. I said, okay, animal communicators convert non-verbal communication. Well, if I'm going to do animal communication and I'm going to do it non-verbally, I got nothing to say. So, I guess I can end now. I just put the video on. So here's the only thing I get to say. And again, this just came to me. I had told this story one time in a little whispering I wrote last Tuesday. And the animal said, this is what you can say that's your story, Brian. We'll take it from there. Has anybody heard of the new movie out called The Lorax? Dr. Zeus. It's a cartoon. It's about the Lorax is the keeper of the trees, the keeper of the forest. And this individual, an entrepreneur, decides he's going to benefit by chopping down the trees. And guess what he does? He chops down all the trees. All the trees. So now humans have to buy air by a corporation who keeps the trees locked away because there's no more trees growing naturally. So we have to grow them in a factory to produce oxygen and sell the oxygen to the people. And the person who cut the trees down feeling pretty bad. And they called him the onceler. So this little boy, he's trying to find how I can get a tree. And he wants to get the tree because a girl he wants to impress said, I'd like to have a tree. So he goes out and finds the onceler and he says, how do I get a tree? He goes, why are you here? Because I care. Well, why do you care? I want a girl I know want. Oh, so you care because you want to impress a girl. And the onceler says, it doesn't matter. As long as you care, that's all that matters. Is you can find something to care about, then everything will come to you. So he says, are there any trees left? He said, no, there's none left. And he throws, the onceler throws this little seed, the last seed of the last tree, and throws it down to this boy, Ted. Ted picks up the seed, and he goes, is that it? That's it? And the onceler says, it's not about what it is. It's about what it becomes. It's not about what it is. It's about what it becomes. We've all done a lot of things in our lives. Some places we're hitting home runs, some places we're doing excellent, some places we're not. At any given moment, it's not about what is. It's about what it becomes. And I like to think of it, IT, as inner truth. It isn't about what it is, inner truth is. It's about what inner truth becomes. The other little story from the movie The Lorax is the Lorax, Ted to the onceler, he's cutting down the trees and he's raping the land and the onceler, the Lorax says to him, you know which way trees fall? Trees fall the way they're leaning. Be careful which way you lean. And I thought, yeah, because he's saying that the onceler's doing the wrong thing, so be careful which way you lean. And I thought, how about this? Be conscious which way you lean. Actually choose which way you're going to lean. Because at this moment in time, we are a collection of a lot of the patterns that have created us. And the way we lean, sometimes we're consciously aware of it, sometimes we're not. And I don't really care to go back in and find every single pattern that exists in my life and find out which way it's got me leaning. But I can do this right now. I'm going to choose to lean towards this. I'm going to choose to lean towards that. I'm going to choose to lean in the direction of the things that I want. And when I lean in the direction of the things that I want, how does that usually feel? Yeah, good. It just feels better. So why? Because it feels better. So I'm going to show you a video of what makes me feel better. And I'm going to see what the animals have to say. Now, I listened this morning to the first speaker. And what I got is, if you're about to cry, you're probably doing it right. So I guess I'm like dead on, just about right now. So I'm going to lean towards the video. Here we go. By the way, before we begin, honestly, I have no idea what my notes are going to be. I spoke to Susan. You just raise your hand. Susan, have we ever met before, any time before today? Okay. How long did we chat out in the hallway this morning? Did we get a little connection? Yeah. So when I was up in my room going through my notes, I'm going, how am I going to follow all this? Because the truth is, I'll be talking to you, so I won't know when the video goes from clip to clip to clip. And the little voice said, how do I do this? It said, just ask Susan if she'll remind you if you go past the clip or before the clip. So what happens when you have that little voice in your head? What are you supposed to do with it? Listen. So here I am. Susan's going to remind me. She has my notes, which means I went through the entire video and just put a little timing thing for her. And while I watch the video, I let the animals talk to me. So here we go. We let her run free as much as possible. This is what we're about. It's personal development through the way of the horse and canine and animals. This is Brenda Lee. She's a 1,800, 1,750 pound Shire horse. She's my teacher, along with Eddie, Red, and Lucy, that you'll see coming up pretty soon. My thing is horses know the way home. For anybody out there who understands horses, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it could also be cats know the way home. Dogs know the way home. Suffering knows the way home. Joy knows the way home. It's the way you experience becoming one with that thing that you do. And everybody here knows what that thing is to them. That thing that makes you feel good. The thing that you want to lean towards. Brenda Lee's been that. I got her 14 years ago. And this 2 weeks will be the longest I've been away from her since she's been born. So I must be dead on in the communication thing right now, right? I do everything I can to get out of her way, to let her be as natural as you can in this society, in this day and age. I haven't had anybody stop me. You know why? Because I think it's my right to do this. So when I go to the beach, I haven't had anybody stop and say, you can't do that. I get this. I do know there's voices out there say, you can't just let your horse run around. You can't just let your horse swim in the ocean. You can't do that. Why do you think I do it? It's the way I want to lean. If I let her feel free, how do I feel? No. Horses know the way home. How do they know? A different knowing than we have. Just observing. Non-judgmental observing. What does non-judgmental mean? I don't even like the word non-judgmental because it has the word judgment in it. Accepting. I accept you as you are, right here, right now. But that's not enough. Because right here, right now is right here, right now. And if all I did was accept this, then all I'd have is this. She wants to know what's next. Now and next. That different way of thinking. That different way of living life where you look at everything in an accepting way. You accept what is. That doesn't mean you agree with what is, but you accept what it is because that's what's happening now. And to create that leaning, I'm leaning from now. But here's what I want. So that means I have to accept reality as it is. Don't have to agree with it, but I have to accept it so that I can lean the direction I want. Here's my other knowing. That's Lucy. It's another one, 6 pounds. She's 6 pounds versus 1,800 pounds. She thinks she's bigger. And you'll see when we start playing how that is. She thinks she's bigger. And I know they're of the same size. Because the freedom that they both have to express who they are, everybody that's been around them, I just see it all the time, there is no size difference. She's Lucy. She's not a little Yorkie to me. She's just Lucy. I say this to you because who's Lucy in you? How big are you? Or how small are you? Do you measure by size? By the way, she's sitting on Brenda. She didn't ask to go up there the first time. That was me. That was me interfering with animals' lives. But when I put her up there, she got to feel what it feels like to be on Brenda. Does that mean she wants up there all the time? No. I put her up sometimes. She wants to stay there. She doesn't want to stay there. What does she do? She's a Yorkie. What does she do? She jumps down. Now, we measured it. That would be like me jumping off a 6-story building. What do I get on Facebook all the time? Do you let that Yorkie jump down? It's going to break her legs. So I went and talked to Lucy. She said, them. She goes, I'd rather break my legs than keep me in some little safe box. I'm a Yorkie, don't you get it? The message I get from them is Lucy right now saying, you can tell that story. A good friend of mine who I started horsing all the way home with is Jonathan Field. He's a natural horseman. And him and I went back and forth on what this is all about. What is it the animals teach us? And we come up with this. The way, the path in life, it's not how far down the path you go. It's how far on the path you are at any given moment. And whose path am I talking about? My path or your path? On your path, are you on the center of your path? Or are you off your path? And if you're off, get to the center of it. But don't measure yourself by how far down you've gone, or measure yourself by how somebody else is on their path, how far they've gone down their path. The way is, measure yourself by how far on your path you are at this moment. And if you're off the path, lean in the direction of your choices until you get back there. And how will that feel? Yes. That's her message. By the way, when I ask them what do they think about this whole thing, about the animal communicating thing, they say, go for it. Go for it. Don't worry, you can't screw it up. Here's Eddie. Eddie's a different dog. We rescued him from Seattle. He had a big scar on his shoulder about that big. It was here by the time he was 12 weeks old. They gave me the story of how much trauma he's going through. He doesn't care about the story. Eddie is always right here, or right here. And Eddie is one of those dogs where he is going to attack anybody or anything that disrupts normalcy. If everything's calm and still, Eddie's calm and still. If the energy goes up, Eddie stops the energy or tries to. That means he does it in ways that other humans don't like. He'll chase Brenda and snap at her tail. And a couple times, Brenda's said warning shots go right over his head. Sometimes, Brenda's caught him on the bottom of the chin, knocked him out cold. He keeps going back, and Brenda's okay with it. Because he's a dog that chases the animals. It's bred into him. I can't breed that out of him. I can't put him on a leash and hold him back. You'll see him doing this in the videos. And when he's done, he's at peace. This is how he is when everything's calm. But when everything amps up, he amps up. He becomes a mirror to the energy around him. But he's living it. He's right on the edge of it. He's just being Eddie, being who he is. Different than Lucy. Eddie's always right here, watching what's going on, ready to stop something, not stop, but participate in it. And then right back to this state. And even in that state, I've never seen anybody catch him asleep. Eyes closed, but I've never seen anybody actually catch him asleep. So Eddie's saying right now, relax, Brian. This is Red. He's the other partner of our team. He was a rescue from Tennessee. They call him a Tennessee ditch dog because apparently in Tennessee, dogs are like disposable items. They just leave them in the ditch and you can drive down the road. A good friend of mine, Mark Russell, another horseman, lives there. And he said, Brian, you find the dogs in the ditches. They're just there. So we call him a Tennessee ditch dog. What Red wants to do is he wants to run on the perimeter of the pack. So I always call him Perimeter Red, which may mean a mile on the perimeter. He's out there trying to chase deer. He's not trying to catch them and eat them. He just wants something to chase. I want to find something. I want to discover it. I want to chase it. I want to run. Let me run. So he's never with us. He's always on the perimeter, but he's still always connected. Always connected. These two are like brothers. Red has this thing where he kind of does a whole dental hygiene thing with Eddie, licking inside the chops, licking inside his lips, completely cleaning it, right? And they're like brothers, yet they're as different as can be. Eddie wants to be right here. Red wants to be out on the perimeter. Yet, it's my job to let them be who they are. It's your job to let you be who you are. It's your job, not the government's, not your parents', not your wives, husbands, sisters. It's your job to find the center of your path. And if you're off, lean towards what feels better. And if this feels wrong, lean towards what feels better. Not judge somebody else for their path. Find your path. Let Red be Red. Let Ed be Ed. Let Lucy be Lucy. Let Brenda be Brenda. Let you be you. Sometimes I take it a little too far. This is Valentine's Day. And this is the first time Jody Sinclair, who'd taken some of the beautiful photography, said, Brian, do you mind if I bring props? I said, sure. Props? I thought, you gotta go stand over near the trees, I'll take a photo, because everything we did was just natural. You wanna take photos? I'll do my thing, you take photos, what happens? I thought props were, if you stand at that wall and kind of pose like this, that's a prop. She came with a heart on Valentine's Day, and I put a little lace around Brenda. The message is there, I'm just getting from Brenda, it's all okay. You're enough. Valentine's Day, you're enough. The connection. It's horses all the way home. Feel the connection. Connection to what? Connection to what? I love this story. I forget where I got it from. I must have read it in the book. And it said, we're like the bubbles that make up, the bubbles on the ocean that are made by the churning waves. And in our bubbleness, we think we're separate from the ocean. But the ocean knows different. So if I talk to you bubble to bubble, it's my ego to your ego. But if I talk to you through the ocean I am, to the ocean you are, it's instantaneous. We're the same. But here's the kicker. The ocean knows different. The ocean wants me to be a great bubble. Because in my ego expression, I add to the consciousness of life. In my ego wanting to be a good speaker, my ego, I add to the consciousness of life. So in you being wanting to be you, the ego that you are, embrace the ego that you are and add it to the consciousness of life. Because you know what? My ego is so big, it wants to surrender to something even larger and be part of that. So that's what Horses Know the Way Home, Feel the Connection's about. Oh, I forgot the word feel. This isn't a thought process. It's here that we decide whether we're leaning. Not here whether we decide where we're leaning. Let this serve this. Let this determine where that is. This is exactly what's going on here. Brenda's always in the background. Without her, this picture's not being taken. These three just want to be in my lap. We started doing some Ustream videos live. We did one. The second day we did the second Ustream video, the three dogs jumped in the chair waiting for me to sit down so they could all collapse in my lap in front of the video. I said, do they know? They said, are you kidding me? So here's what we do. Horses Know the Way Home, Feel the Connection. I'll go out of the way a little bit for this one. That's Jamie playing with the video. That's Lucy barking at Brenda. Okay, now watch this right here. He's being himself. Here's Brenda teasing him, tossing the tail around, try that, try that. I'll bite some of that. Do you think Brenda cares? Because Eddie's being Eddie. He's congruent with who he is. One of the things we teach is that everything falls under, it's the release that teaches. I used to think I learned from my mistakes. The only thing my mistakes ever did was motivate me to find the answer. When I found the answer, how did it feel? Oh, I finally got it. Or I'm trying, I did that, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. I got it! How did it feel when I got the answer? It's the release that teaches. It's the good feeling that teaches you when you get that thing that you want. That feels perfect to you. To you right here, right now. Every individual living their lives, when you get in line with who you are, it feels good. The relief is off. So don't use words to pressure you. Unless you're consciously saying, I'm going to use words to leverage me towards what I want. And you're aware that you're doing that. Let go towards let's go. I've gone to enough therapy to put most therapists' kids through college. So I can let go of all the things that happen to me. All the baggage I'm dragging. The problem is the more educated I became, the more baggage I became aware of. And I realized that was going to expand exponentially along that path. And so I was trying to let go of stuff and let go of stuff and let go of stuff and let go of stuff. And when you let go of stuff, this is all you got. Then I chose I wanted that. Let's go. And all of a sudden, this held me back. And then when I let go of it, I got movement toward what I want. Movement toward what I want. So I would let go towards let's go. So the message here was pick something you want. Pick something that you could move towards. Move towards. That's why I think when you see here Brenda saying, see this, what is it about horses? What is it if I'm a director of a movie and I want to inspire people, I want to move them, just have a horse galloping down the beach. Just show that video, it's in slow motion, by the way. And people are just moved by seeing 1,800 pounds going. But is it the picture or is it in them they want to feel the same movement? They want to move the 1,800 pounds within them towards something. Towards something. That's one thing about horses. They don't move towards something for no reason. There's a desire moving them. And I would ask that you would think, what do I want to move towards? What's my desire? What do I want to move towards? And then the let goes make sense. Because when you let go, you feel forward movement toward what you want on your path today. The message here was, isn't my butt beautiful? That was Eddie, and Brendan went, pfft, are you kidding me? Look at mine. But this is what life could be like sometimes. When I train people, I bring them through these woods. And it's amazing. We're walking through the woods, and people will fall off Brenda because they'll go, oh, a branch, oh, a branch, oh, a branch. And they grab the branch, and they go, oh, off they go. Instead of looking for the gaps. Are those branches, or are those just a bunch of gaps to move through? Do you look for the branches in life? Grab a hold of the branch and then tell everybody about the burden of the branch and your journey with the branch? Or do you look for the gaps toward what you want? I've never seen Brenda grab a branch. I go right through that forest. I can just close my eyes at night. She's like this, like a snake going through the grass. All around those trees. As soon as I see the tree, it's amazing. She goes right to the tree because she follows the energy of my focus. But if I let go and allow the gaps to show and trust they'll always show up, she finds the gaps. The release that teaches ah versus ah. Are you looking for the ahs in life? The reason I could ride Brenda with no bit, no saddle, is I started riding like this. Every time she did what I would look thinking, what I would ask, when she would do anything that resembled what I'd ask, I'd go, and I look for the ahs. Don't get me wrong. At the beginning, I'm excellent at looking for the ahs. This isn't working, and this isn't working, and this isn't working. How does that feel? It doesn't feel good. It just doesn't work. When I started looking for the ahs and letting her know, I'm able to do this with them. Now they can go anywhere they want. Anywhere they want. Brenda could buck me off in a heartbeat because right now, that day, she was soaking wet in sweat. And she'd been cleaned up. So she's like wet satin sheets to sit on. So all I have to do is look for the because as soon as I brace against myself, I create the resistance, I justify the resistance, and I fall off and I blame her. Or I blame my lack of skills. It wasn't any of that. It was, look for the Look for that. Because when you're in the center of your path, what you want to lean towards, it always feels like, and when you go over here, your choice. I love these things. To be able to let go and let an 1,800-pound Shire gallop down the beach. You know why that picture exists? Because I thought about it, and the thought of it felt good to me. And then I get to the beach, and I went, ooh, I got to get on her. I said, why not give it a chance? What if I get on her, and it feels like, from to awesome? And my other voice said, yeah, but what if you fall? Then the entire company's down the drain. Right? What do you do then? And here's my choice. I can get on her and let go. Or I can get on her and control. I can surrender, or I can control. And in my surrendering, what do you think I found? Control. Because when I surrender and I let go of myself, what's left? If I forget all I know, what's left? All that I am. So if I give Brenda myself, here you go. She can connect with, she has something to connect with. If I try to control it, she doesn't have anything to connect with. Should I change Sue? Yes, thank you, next. Is the yes. The rub, the pet, the feeling of gratitude is the thank you. So anytime I'm with Brenda and we're dancing, so to speak, because most of the time we just go jogging through the woods, in and out of the trees, at the beach. Anytime she's where I want her to be so we can have a nice dance, I'm like, And then immediately follow that yes up with, thank you. So I literally make the sound, The thank you I don't say, I feel. I take gratitude and I amplify it up. Not for her to hear. She already felt it the second I had it. For me to hear. So that I can recreate it. Because when I'm going to take her here, and we don't show this in this video, but you start going out where we're both over our heads swimming, and the waves are coming in, and the waves are crashing between her and I, between shore and where we're at, she better want to be with me. Because if she doesn't want to be with me, we're both in a world of hurt. So when I first did it, I actually took the line off of her to let her run to shore free. We're in like 15, 20 feet of water. Guess what she started doing? Swimming out towards shore, out towards sea. I'm like, where you going? She turned right around, and just headed in, rode the waves in. But when I was out there, I had to surrender. Not because I had to, because what am I going to control in 20 feet of water with an 1,800-pound horse that I just let go? But when I surrendered, I couldn't get her to leave me because I was worth connecting with. Yes, thank you, next. Yes, we have a responsibility for the planet, but it starts here. It starts with, just reach your hand out. It starts with the softest touch. Just want what you want. Because right now, anything you want is true. Because you just had the desire. It exists because you're living your life. And when you think about that, then you start looking outside. That's the message Brenda just said. Put her head down. Take a look. Once you're at one with yourself, you will naturally want to go out to other horizons. Now and next. Now, the platform of Brenda's butt. Next, Brian. What does Lucy have to do to go from a 6-story building to a 5-story building? She has to release. She has to let go. She has to want. Want first. Care first that you're enough. And then, next. So she's on Brenda's butt and she decides she wants to be with me. What do I have to do to receive her? Want her. And it's all a feeling. It's not a thought. It's just a feeling. Because when I don't want her, she doesn't even look to me to jump. But if I see her wanting to get off, all I have to do is want her. And the animals are telling me all this isn't them. I'll be quiet in this one. This is cool. This is letting them play. And ready, go! Yeah, I'm not going to let her ride Brenda. Right. Now exists. Next is where you lean. Now exists. Reality exists. I would suggest don't take, and this is some words of another teacher, don't take the position of being morally superior to reality. It is. But that doesn't mean what it becomes. What it becomes is what you choose. Now is the platform that you launch your next from. You have to accept your now. And then, once you do that, then you can choose your next. And that's the message for Brenda. I can bring you to now. I can't bring you to next. I can bring you to this moment. I can see you as you are right now. Next is up to you. You can choose. You can create. I can't do that. And I trust you. I trust your intelligence. Talk about saving the planet. The animals' message that I get is they trust us to be intelligent. They trust it. They believe in us. They want us to use the wisdom. Stop judging ourselves. Stop blaming ourselves for ruining the planet. That's not the platform to start from. The platform is, I have a small opportunity at this moment in time in my life, which is a blip on the radar screen. What difference can you make now? So start with what feels good to you, what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Next, the desires that our life has inspired. If you don't know what you want in life, and you don't know what that passion is, no problem. You don't even have to. You don't even have to ask. If you live your life, you will generate desires. If only because this doesn't work, you want something that does work. But just the living of your life, waking up, choosing this one, choosing that one, you get desires that come up. They're inspirations in spirit. They come from spirit. They're things that you want. And every person here, the desires they have right now is different from every other person here. And every desire you have right now is different than desires you'll have tomorrow. So those desires are going to come up. They're your next. Just lean towards them. They'll guide you. That's living through inspiration. And those desires, that's what the horse feels. Brenda always feels my intention. It's the best words I have, by the way, because I have no idea exactly what it is. I have no clue what it is. So I take words that I point to this feeling, and some words feel better than others at making sense to me. And intention seems to be a good word, because I think, I have an intention, and she's already got it at the intention. And then my thoughts come in and describe what the intention is, and my thoughts actually show up after the fact, because I've already had the intention. So the best my brain can do is work from history, because my intention is in the moment, and that's where Brenda is at. And she said, Brian, I'll meet you at your intention. That's where you can truly create from. You don't have to worry about being inspired. Just living your life. You don't have to worry about wanting the right thing. Live your life. Everybody here living their life has different desires. I don't like to dress Lucy up, but other people in my group like to dress Lucy up. And people go, why do you put those? Lucy said, just explain the costume, please. Because people say, what are you dressing the dog up for? You know why I'm dressing the dog up? Oh, I shouldn't say I don't dress her up. I actually put it on, but they go out and buy the outfits and I put them on her. How do I feel putting that on? How do the people who buy Lucy the little outfits, how do they feel? Good. And I'm putting it on her. How do I feel? Good. How does Lucy like to hang around me feeling good? It's not about the outfit is about how I feel. So she says, if you're going to dress me in a little Santa Claus outfit with little tassels on it, I don't care as long as it makes you feel good. I could care less. You're humanizing the animal. Of course, I'm a human. That's what I do. I'm going to put human values on my animals because I can't not do that. Smile with all 4 cheeks. I'll let the video go first, and I'll let you smile because this video is just cool. Notice what's up at the front of Brenda's feet. You barely see it. It's coming. Smile with all 4 cheeks. Smile here. Everybody right now, frown with your butt cheeks. Some of you, it's not tough to do, right? Frown with your butt cheeks. Now smile with your butt cheeks. Now open your heart and breathe. I talked to a friend of mine who's a yoga instructor who's studying to be a yogi. She said she wants to have a renunciate life. I said, what's that? She goes, if you just be a yogi, that's all you do, you become one with God. So I told her about smiling with all 4 cheeks. She said, of course, there's no other way. I said, what do you mean? She goes, if you try to open your heart and your butt is tight, you're uptight, you're a tight ass, right? Then you're not opening your heart, you're puffing out your chest in false bravado. You have to open up your hips, open up your base chakra. You have to surrender and let the energy flow through you if you're going to become one with who you are. If you're going to be that bubble with the ocean, smile with all 4 cheeks, an open heart, and breathe. Has anybody ever seen a horse in a field be super happy and just bolt and take off? What's the sound they make? What is Brenda doing right now? That's smiling with all 4 cheeks. So everybody right here is the best wisdom I have for you in your life. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Oh, a bunch of tight asses, huh? Anybody here has the courage to fart? Okay, so you're smirking with all 4 cheeks. That's good enough. But a horse, to do that, the energy, I jump with joy. Right? So I was so nervous here, I would almost, my pants. What does that mean? It means I'm opening up with all 4 cheeks so all of me is available. Imagine going through life and you're going towards that thing that you want and you're uptight about it. Risk. Like Lucy. Risk. Loosen up. Heartfelt intention as a leader, thought as a servant. I love this one. Take my ego and make it the biggest ego on the planet and put it in the servant mode. And tell my ego, here's what I want you to do. And the ego goes, this is great. Because I love being larger than life, but I really know that I don't know everything. I'm pretty clear I'm a bubble. I can only be the bubble. I don't know anything about the ocean. But if I can serve the ocean's intention, whoo! Let me do it as uniquely as this little thing on planet Earth. That's my life. On planet Earth, that's my life is this little 70-year, 100-year, whatever you're going to live to be. It's gone. Can you let your ego create a unique experience that's your life? So that when you're not here and you're looking back, you're going, ha ha, I like what happened. You were dead center on your path. Winds were blowing and you just stayed. It's like that tree. Everything's blowing. Because I'm an ego, I'm rooted here in the earth. But at the same time, I'm a servant. So there's these 2 racing. Lucy chose under the log this time. And if you notice, I'm behind the tree, not hiding. I just get knocked off. I was given a workshop, and they were all down the other end of the workshop on either side of the path because I wanted to have them stand and watch a Shire gallop right through them. And Brenda knocked me off on a tree, right? I fell. And then she looked at me and I went, go! So she just took off, Lucy chasing her, 15 people on this side, 15 people on this side. Here comes a Shire down the middle. How do you think they felt when that Shire blew right by them? They felt the power of life. A year later, they're telling me, I was standing there, I felt, they felt freedom. They felt power. They felt being yourself. Okay, Lucy said, don't try to read me here. I wear leather because humans put leather on me. Brenda said, I am leather, so I got no big deal with it. Lucy said, I'm in charge, and Brenda said, yeah, like I care. I'm just going to get some grass. I'm just going to be me. Lucy's going to be her. She can get down if she wants. But to me, this is what I get out of my animals, just being, just hanging. Except I'll take the word just off. And I'm going, being. Because that's enough. Because when I can be that, I'm following my heart's felt intention. And then once I start following that, my ego will go craft a life that's in line with that. And I give my ego permission to do that. So I can feel this. So I can teach others this. Not how to ride a Shire. How to ride your 1,800-pound energy through life. And here comes Eddie. Brenda's had a bit in her mouth once in her life. Doesn't mean I have anything against bits. I just didn't like them. She's had a custom-made saddle. It was an $8,000 saddle. It's been on it twice. I put it on there, there was just too many attachments. They were confusing. And she feels better bareback. This feels just cool. This feels just like awesome. Lucy said, I've got the best butt. And a lot of times we go for the walks in the woods, they lead the way. They lead the way. But there's always an eyelash looking back. Can you notice the eyelash looking back? Because you're always watching yourself, but can you notice the eyelash looking back? You're being watched by yourself to determine where you're on that path, if you'll notice the eyelash looking back. If you don't notice the eyelash, that soft, subtle, nondescript, complete observing of your entire state, you'll miss it. It needs you to recognize you're living that life. You have to say, I like this statement. Again, I don't know where it came from. Catch yourself doing that thing that you do. Witness yourself doing that thing that you do. Because in the witness, it becomes real. You get to own it, and then you can move it. But if you don't recognize it, you just lost the power. This is Brenda doing her thing. Taking groups of people in workshops, out in the forest, just hanging with them, hanging with the dogs, letting them experience a wild animal in its most wild state. I've done everything I can to keep Brenda as wild as possible. Yes, she does have a halter on her because she tends to think we're all horses, and that means she's trying to stand next to you, but if you're a horse, she can't stand on your feet. If you're human, she can step on your feet. So I don't mind having the halter there so I can move her around and so we don't have broken toes. And so I can have a relationship with her. And she's okay with that. Because I'm a human, I've actually bought the hay and bought the shavings. She doesn't need that. She can be let free. But in today's world, that's not going to happen. Let's let free randomly. This is Brenda being Brenda. Now this is my idea. This is my ego created this. My ego, not Brenda. Brenda didn't say, take me in the water. This is my sister Cynthia, who's also created Horses Know the Way Home. We're essentially a personal development company, but she's created this with us. But we were doing this for the first 10 years that we had Brenda. This is what I would do. And why would I do it before I had the company? Before I tried to go out and teach this? Why would I do this on a Saturday afternoon? Why not? It's just the coolest thing in the world to do. You can go swimming. And sharing that with others? Because it feels good to me. It doesn't mean it feels good to you. But what is it that you would do that feels like that to you? There's actually a river that comes out and runs out in the ocean between us and the rocks. And it was kind of tricky right there because the tide was going towards the river and the river was flowing out. And every time we get over our heads, we both start floating towards the river that I couldn't control. And all I had to do was go with the flow. Work with the tide and swing right back in. Horse funship. People ask me, what do I do? Meaning, do you drive her? Do you jump her? Do you do dressage? Do you do English? Do you do Western? And what's come out of my mouth since she was 2, and it just came out. And then after it came out, I heard it, I witnessed it, and I liked what it said, and it was true. It's, I get to stand next to her and feel love pass through me. I don't know what the love is. I know it's not coming from me, yet I don't feel separate from it, and I know it's not coming from her, but when I stand next to her, I can feel this movement of something, and it feels good. It feels good. And what I'll normally say after that, I go, want to try? And I'll put somebody on Brenda, and I'll go feel that, and I'll just ask them, reach down and give her a big hug, so they can feel it. We play. The message here is, again, you're enough. You're enough to want everything you want. That having joy and having fun in the uniqueness that is you right here, right now, you do not need permission. You can't go do enough to deserve. You can't go be better so you'll be okay. It starts with, I'm okay in expressing that. No karma. No nothing. Just, right now, I'm okay. Complete acceptance. If you can start with you're enough, Brenda can connect with that. But Brenda can't do the next. She can only connect with you are enough. So she doesn't mind if you're angry. She doesn't mind if you're full of hatred. She doesn't mind if you're full of jealousy. As long as you are that. But when I'm sad and I'm not okay being sad, I disconnect from myself. And when I disconnect myself, she can't connect with me. And all she wants, being a horse, is connection. Because to them, connection is life and death. It's a life matter situation. I can't connect with disconnected energy. So if you're sad, Brian, be sad. If you're angry, be angry. And then move through it. I can connect with you there. If you're full of doubt, don't be full of doubt. That's okay. But don't be full of doubt and not be okay with it. Be okay with it. And that's what I try to do for these dogs. That's what they do to me. They say, it's okay. It's all okay. Whatever you want, it's okay. So that is the message. You're enough. A horse does not care how much you know until you show the horse how much you care. Do you show yourself how much you care? I don't care how much you know. I ask you, don't care how much you know. First, start with caring. The little seed. The little boy had to want something that mattered, that he cared enough to get the seed. The seed of life, the seed of that tree, the seed of all it can become is waiting for you to care about something. And contrary to Facebook lore, this is not a blind dog being rescued in the floods by a shire. This is Lucy playing on Brenda because Brian decided to put Lucy on Brenda and take him out for a swim. And then when I tried to take Lucy off, she didn't want to come off. And so now I take Brenda out, Lucy's at the shore, barking her brains out until you put her back on Lucy and take her out swimming. So what am I doing here? Interesting. Why do you think I'm doing that? Why? Awakenings to animals. Why are we here? Feels great. Everybody has their reason for being here because it feels great to you. And I just think that is the coolest thing in the world to do. To put your hand on the horse and jump the jump with the horse. So what do you think happens if I stop short of the jump and I don't go with her? What does she do? She stops short of the jump and doesn't go with me. I have the hardest time sending her over a jump. By the way, the reason she's pinning her ears... No, never mind. Oh, watch this. Watch this. Ready? Watch her lean back. Ready? And lean. Look at her lean back. Okay, so let's see what Brenda thought about me jumping on her. A human jumping on a natural horse. Inflicting my will upon her. First off, look at my face and tell me how I'm feeling. I'm saying, I just jumped on my horse! Lucy's watching. Here's Brenda's opinion of that. Not once. She's going to go, Lucy, say something to Lucy. Did you check that out, Lucy? That's my opinion of that. You can't see that until Jamie showed me in the video. I'm approaching, and Brenda's watching. She lifts her head up, and then she does this. She leaned into me as I was approaching her. Unless you see it in super slow motion video, you never see that. She knows what I'm doing. She joined with me. She had other choices, by the way, like leaving. Here I come to jump on her. What did she do? Leaned into me. As I'm running to jump on her, how am I feeling? Connected or disconnected to my desires? Connected. And she leans into that because she can. I can connect with you when you connect with yourself. It's beautiful to her. Because a horse by himself is not a happy creature. A horse with somebody else that's connected is a happy creature. She loves to connect. She's free to move. Instead, in super slow motion, I'm like, oh my God, she leaned into me. How do you think I felt when I saw that? And then she yawned, right? Like it was no big deal. Play is the purpose of everything. Everything. Stop taking yourself so seriously. I include me in you. Stop taking ourselves so seriously. Play. Dance. Whatever you're doing. If you're a warrior, dance with a warrior. If you're a peacemaker, dance with being a peacemaker. Whatever your inclination is, embrace it and become it and play with it. Because to play with it is to remove those restrictions, to remove those limitations, and feel what it's like to express yourself. Let all of yourself show up. So you have a cause? Champion it and play with it. More of yourself will show up, and the cause will most likely go in the direction you want if you're playing it. And I do not have her mane, by the way. So you want to make a point of that. She does not like me grabbing her mane. This is me holding on to something. Ask me why I do this. Ask me why I do this. The little girl has socks on. How do you think her feet are feeling right now, the underside of her feet? I'm holding her hand. I'm aware of the underside of her feet, and I know how she's feeling with those feet. She wants a witness. Her mother's over there. She wants her mother to recognize. We all want a witness. Play is the purpose, joy is the expression. You think Joan of Arc was having fun expressing who she was? Think if she didn't have that one cause, she wouldn't fight another cause? People who fight causes, fight them, I hope, if they're fighting it for the right reason, they're fighting it because it fires up their fires, and they enjoy that fire. Not right, not wrong. It's you living your life this moment in time. So the people who are the warriors going to war, they're full of fire. The people who are fighting for peace are full of fire. What is it that does it for you? What brings you joy? Because when you have joy, you're connected to all that you are at this moment in time. And you can't go back. And all the patterns and all the things that have created you, don't even worry about those. Worry about what patterns you want to create now. And then when you start creating the patterns you want to create, these will just be the things that you let go of. So you can have forward movement towards what you want. Joy is the expression. How's Brenda feeling right now? She can go anywhere she wants. The rope's hanging straight down. No one's holding her there. So whether Brenda's just hanging out at one with love and peace and serenity and joy, or she's trying to take Eddie's head off because Eddie's trying to bite at her tail, she's being Brenda. And whether Eddie is sleeping soundly, but Eddie's trying to take Brenda's tail off, he's being Eddie. So you're you no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing. But you cannot be you by thinking you're not enough. You're enough. Now what do you want now? What desires has the living of your life inspired? Because they're unique to every individual here. Play is the purpose. Joy is the expression. Friends are the expansion. You get in line with yourself. You become the tree and you're leaning the way you want to lean. Guess what you want to do next? Most of us. You want to lean with another tree. You want to become a forest that moves. And even the person who's a recluse, even recluse means I'm away from others. Others defines recluse, because if there are no others, the word recluse wouldn't exist. Friends of the expansion, in relationship, we find out what our next is. In our relationship, we also find out where we define ourselves as not enough. So we find the blocks, and we find the freedoms. We find the things to let go of. We find the things to move towards in relationships. This is just cool. This is just, okay, let's go watch the sunrise over a house on a rock with a Yorkie on a Shire's back. Why? Because I decided there's something I want to do in my life that I thought would be cool. And it keeps bringing me joy. And I'll keep doing it as long as it keeps bringing me joy. And I'll invite you all in because you're friends. You're part of my relationships. And I like people seeing me. Because through your eyes, I can also see myself. So I can witness myself through my eyes. But I like the safety of other eyes witnessing me also. It keeps me more grounded. Oh, and this is also, Brenda says, this is her without the beard, and she wants everybody on the critique form, Shire with beard or without beard. Could you please? That's horse funship. Horses in our lives, not for sport, unless it's fun. Not for driving, unless it's fun. For joy. Because a horse running, whether it's the horse races, is a horse one trying to be all it can be. Lucy, would you stop that? Should I take that Yorkie and protect her and not let her run with the Shire now? Lucy, I went to a safety course and I agree with them. Animals' rights said I shouldn't let you run with the Shire. Because I know probably the last sound Lucy's going to make is... She's okay with that. She said, Janie, please get the photo. But don't show it to an animal rights activist group because it'll be horrible. And by the way, when I worry about Lucy running at Brenda's feet, do I help the situation? Or, yeah, right. My brain interfering with their consciousness. What should my brain be doing? Get the heck out of the picture. Because as soon as I go, oh, they're both going to go, what? Horse funship. So I'm 53 years old. I have all the isms you have in life, all the things you have to go to therapy for, and I get to capture my childhood again. Why not? Should I change that? What about you? Can you capture your childhood? Because in that childness, you're free. You think you're enough. Because what does a 5-year-old ask on a Saturday morning in the middle of the summer? Goes outside, plays with his friends. What do they ask? What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? They're professional want-to-dos. My question to you is, what do you want to do? It's unique to you. And let that wanting be enough. And know that you're enough to want that and express that. And as soon as you express it, show others. And then you can start leaning towards what feels good to you. And in the leaning, you'll feel the connection. You'll feel the connection to the ocean. You'll feel a connection to the other bubbles. And other bubbles, a great bubble. And you'll find that if I go bubble to bubble, I limit myself. But I look at you as a bubble, and I feel you through the ocean, and I feel the ocean inside of me. And Brenda says, yes, that's what we're trying to say. And Lucy says, do you have a towel? What she's saying here is, don't save me. Don't save me. Let me be. Let you be. Let it be inner truth. Let it be. Lucy's actually saying right now, I wish it's not her best side, but she's okay with that. Thank you.
Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Thank you, Brian. Fantastic. Now, we are at 7 minutes past 5. He did promise to run over, and he has stayed true to his promise. So, but I was watching you all, you were intent in that, so I was happy in my decision to just let him run free. You know, he is Brian, being Brian, and it's magnificent, so thank you. So, questions. Do we have some questions for Brian? Stick your hand up, wait for the microphone. You choose as
Right behind you, there's one. Thank you, Julie. Yes.
Hello, that was fantastic, and thank you for coming and showing us that. I've had horses and lots of animals, but you don't show another horse. I would have loved to have known what her reaction would have been if you had another horse there.
Yeah, I know. Brenda's really not a horse person. Brenda it's all about Brenda. And if the other horses are watching, that's you watch. A couple things happened being a horse owner. Brenda was the first horse I ever had. And when I got her, I thought, like I imagine a mother would be with a baby, and the day the baby's born, oh my God, I'm gonna screw this up. And I thought, I'm gonna screw this up. So I decided to finding out who the best in the world that horse came, who could treat them in their natural state. So I tried studying all natural horsemen, horsewomen, you name it. But most of the people in Rhode Island, most of the farms went into the natural movement. You were a hunter, jumper, a dressage. So every farm I went to, they not only didn't want me there, they definitely didn't want my horse with their horse. Like, can you keep your horse, you can't share a paddock, because Brenda would become the alpha mare and go through that learning process of sorting out all the other ones. And so you have an 1,800-pound Shire telling the thoroughbred and telling the hunter jumper what she thinks. So all the other humans didn't want Brenda with. And because Brenda was given permission to be Brenda, her nickname was Brenda the Beast, because she was so expressive. She wasn't a horse. You know what that meant by horse? This is what they wanted for a horse. And Brenda was like, there's nothing to connect with. You're disconnected. I'm nothing. So she's looking for something to connect with. She's looking for a being who's okay being who they are. Not trying to condole. I can connect with you if you're connected. So disconnected individuals would try to handle her, and she would give them her opinion. And I've done everything I can to let her opinion be freely expressed, which means no one wanted their horses hanging around with Brenda. All that free thinking thing, you know. So, and she was large, and the truth is, she would kick other horses. It's funny though, because the people who would let her share the paddock, it'd take moments for Brenda to sort it out with that horse, and another horse would follow her. So we do go to the beach sometimes. I would go for walks through the woods, and sometimes I have Brenda on the lead line, sometimes I wouldn't, but sometimes I would go on a lead line and have other horses who just loved Brenda, because they could look across the paddock like horses do and just go, I'd go through the woods and let the other horse run free. And the other horse would follow Brenda around without a lead line. But you couldn't put that horse and Brenda in the same paddock together, because then Brenda would have to give her the what for, and then another human would say, I can't have your horse teaching my horse anything because I can't go through the learning curve. Does that make sense? So most of the time she's just me and her, and another horse following once in a while. In the back of the room?
I was going to ask the same question, but I'm just sort of moving on from there. I just wondered, and I completely understand what you're saying. I have 11 rescued horses, and I understand dynamics can be scary sometimes. But would you ever consider maybe looking out there for a husband for Brenda who could match her energy?
Oh, I love to tell this story. You ready? You want to see my ego go flying?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna breed Brenda. I had a woman that had this beautiful 19-hand Shire. Tells me this story about the freedom and self-expression, and she's willing to send the semen up to me for free, just so there could be another being on the planet that's a combination of her stallion and Brenda, because she's got to watch Brenda. She has never met Brenda. She watches the videos and sees the photos, and somehow through the vibration and the frequency of those photos, she's going, my horse, baby. And so I thought about doing that, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. Little Brenda's running around, because sometimes Brenda doesn't want to perform, or I'd like to not have to go and give workshops all the time, especially if it's so I want to give her the freedom of choice and bring in, and I would like to have Brenda's baby and bring it up from the beginning, because knowing what I know now, what could I do now, right? Of course, this wasn't enough, right? So I thought through that, and I just couldn't. This never felt right. Here's what never felt right. What if? What if? What if something happens to Brenda and the baby? Then what? Then no horses know the way home. Then I can't make a living. But then it was like, no, that's what you're saying, but what if? So am I going to risk her life so I can satisfy me? Well, initially it sounded great, but then my ego went, I don't want people thinking about me like that. And then I have to look in the mirror. So we started to tell you out with the Michael Jackson song. It's that man in the mirror. Am I willing to have Brenda risk having a baby because it's something I want? No. We'll have a surrogate baby, right? You bring up the sperm, you plant the seed, you take the egg out that's fertilized, and you put it in another mare, and she has the baby. Perfect. perfect. Brenda's here. I have the baby. And like, I'm not going to worry about this mare. And I'm trying to get this thing going, and I already see myself obsessing out of the world. And then Mark Russell, a good friend of mine who teaches natural dressage, he said, and knows me from day one, he said, Brian, why don't you just first off, if you have Brenda, you're going to worry about it nonstop. If you have the baby over here, you're going to worry about it nonstop. Never mind risk another horse's life. Why don't you let the next horse that's going to come into your life the same way Brenda did? I had a desire, and it became inspired, and the universe delivered it to me. So I've already put the request in, and now I'm eagerly anticipating the answer. Yes.
Is it still on? Yes. Sorry, it wasn't really what I meant, even though I really appreciate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go on.
I didn't mean for her to have a baby. I meant just as a companion.
To have a companion?
I didn't mean that she should be pregnant.
Again, here's the animal communicator that I'm not. I have never heard Brenda even give me an inkling that she cares about having a... Now, there are other horses that are there, and every once in a while when she comes in the heat, the horse next to her, the sock from his ear to his shoulder is soaking wet because she's licked him upside down one side the other. And then the next day, she's kicking the fence down because he looked at her from 50 feet away. So she has interaction with other horses. When she's in heat, she cares about some of them. The rest of the time, they don't really give her no mind. But she's not isolated from horses, though.
No, that's what I was wondering. Thank you for answering. Thank you.
But I love telling that story anyway, though. Yeah, sure. One more question. Yeah.
Did you ask Brenda whether she wanted to hold
Yes. Yes. And she said, ask Mark. Because when it came from Mark, I knew that's where I was supposed to be hearing the answer from. And she said, I heard her say, she didn't go, erg. Yes.
Just a quick question. I'm getting a 16-year-old pony shortly, in about 2 weeks.
Pony,
a 16-year-old pony.
Yes.
Do you think I can introduce this way of living to a 16-year-old who's already got a sort of attitude?
I'll answer that question by saying yes and no. And what I mean by that is, when I asked for Brenda and the universe delivered it, I had a feeling of what I wanted. And what was delivered was perfect. The person who had Brenda, she bought a mare that was pregnant with Brenda. And then when Brenda hit the ground, and there's photos we can even show you, of Brenda hitting the shavings and bouncing up from the shavings, and there were photos there. And the woman who owned Brenda at the time was in the stall for 72 hours, didn't leave it. So from the day Brenda was born, she was introduced to humans. And I've asked Brenda that. And what I've got is, this can happen to anybody. Just like the idea, I know the power of karma in the world and the concept of it, and a lot of times I believe really heavily in it. But then I start going, if I have to pay for all my sins, and every day I'm discovering more and more sins, I'm like, again, the holier I get, the more sins I look back on. So it's like, how do you break free of this? And that idea of, in a moment, you can break free of karma. So a 16-year-old comes with baggage. I come with baggage. We all come with baggage. But if you can, through your intention, going, I would like to connect, where connections take place, having no idea what the heck those words mean, they're just a feeling, and we use the words to point to the feeling. Feel that feeling, want that, because it sounds like you wanted it. In your voice, you didn't go, well, you didn't go, what if I had a 16-year-old and I can't? You went, is it possible? And the best I can tell you is, if I take out the words, in the is the answer. Does that make sense? That's that nonverbal communication thing? Because it's a heartfelt desire that had no restriction on it. You didn't go, what if I get a pony and it's been abused, because like all horses that are 16-year-old, they've been beat around the head with a 2x4, right? And that's why you had to heal them. No. Any moment, everybody's baggage. Every moment, everybody has the ability to drop it all. Unless you believe that you have to wade through your baggage. problem with that is the more I wade, the higher I get, the more baggage I see. I'm sitting on top of a dump. So to break free of it, and that's what Brenda says, just drop it all. Why? Because you can connect with me right now. Because you connect with you, I can connect with you. And there's the bubble and the ocean speaking to the bubble. If you just drop it all right now and just be okay, you're already enough, I can connect with you. And if you connect, let me connect with you, you're everything. If you disconnect from me, you're nothing. No. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Julie.
Okay. So, hello, Amelia. Say again?
Is it on?
It is.
Yes. Brian, I just want you to know that I had some misgivings about being filmed. I wasn't sure that that was the right thing to do. And I wanted to thank Elaine and Sue for filming this. And I don't have a question for you. First of all, my map of a man's brain, I have to make a formal apology for.
Actually, you were accurate.
I can only hope that we have an opportunity to work together so that you can get even with me.
The only problem with that map was it just should have been all about sex.
I'm away from my animals for 5 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm away from my partner for 2 months. And one of the things he said is how few men have the courage to get up and talk about this. And he also is a big butch animal rescuer. And I was thinking, when I see him, what would be the most beautiful gift? I could take him from all these different countries I'm going to go to before I see him again. You've given me the most beautiful gift to give Jeff. I think that was, without contest, the most beautiful presentation I have ever seen. Ever.
Just a couple of quick notices, and I'm going to free you because the bar will be opening at 6 o'clock if you're staying. And I know that you may be thinking about now and next.